So imagine like a parts department, and they've got 3 or 4 people, you know, servicing the customers. And what they'll do is they'll just create a quote for that customer. And then when that's complete, then they'll either write the quote number on a piece of paper, or if it's just a, you know, 1 or 2 people at a time, then that person will just go down to the cashier window. The cashier will have the quote homepage open, and she'll just keep hitting refresh. And she'll go, oh, Mr. Sanchez, there you are. Anything else? Would you like anything else? How would you like to pay for it? And she just basically restores it to the cart and starts the checkout process and handles the money through. So there's a lot of companies that they don't want their employees touching cash, and they just have their cashier, and that's how you would handle that as well too.
It's pretty slick.
I think that's the same thing that Sims must do. This long lines, they'll come along with a barcode scanner, and then all you do is walk up to the cashier, and they go, okay, are you adding anything else?
Yeah.
So it's the same type of thing, right?
It's
Yes.
similar.
And some of the cashiers too, they'll even, you know, tell them about some of their other services, or, you know, if they're doing like repairs or
warranty or something.
Yeah,
warranties,
upsells.
or,
So then they'll add to it.
Yeah, but as soon as they restore it to the cart, it's automatically in edit mode again.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like, sweet. It just makes it pretty slick. It depends on how you're set up. But, one, it's a great way to save a cart. Say you were working on something, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I have to go pick up the kids from school or something. Save it, I'll be back to you. You know, it doesn't hurt anything. It helps you kind of save your work.
Plus, you'll get a lot of customers too, like on large ticket items. They'll say, quote me this with, like, I'll give you an example. Say they want to buy a pickup, and they may want a topper on it. Well, quote me the pickup, but if my wife will let me, maybe I'll get the topper.
Right,
So
yes,
then you can
several
quote the
quotes.
pickup, and then you can start another shopping. You can save it as a quote, and you can do another quote and have the topper on that. So you could have 10 quotes for one customer, and then when they come back, you just go to the one you want and restore it, check them out, and then you can add items, like additional items to that
Add,
as well too.
subtract, change, whatever.
Okay, can I ask you something? On your quote that you did, where you were charging out the rental for the plane, it says it was taxable, but I don't see any tax. Is that because the tax was never added?
We haven't gone to location yet.
Okay, okay,
We're-
so that's the
our
reason
whole
why.
our whole goal so far was just let's start having you build some stuff.
Okay,
We
okay.
haven't. There are so many settings to actually get a real company set up.
Uh-huh.
You have to go to that person. Okay, what is your taxing entity? Well, actually, I have to tax this way for this and this and this.
Yeah,
Sounds like you actually need 2 locations. You know, like you have to know this type of stuff before you even go in. We haven't got there yet.
okay,
The taxing is actually done on the location level,
okay.
so we just haven't touched that yet.
Is there any other way to go back and find my quotes? Because now I've done 3. On the
Uh-huh.
original one we did, I was
Yeah.
7, and I was 18,
Okay.
I'm 20. If I forget the
Well,
number,
back-
if I don't remember the number, what's another way to get back to my
Okay,
quotes?
perfect. Well, which way do you want to know?
Well, if I don't know my numbers, I already got my numbers.
Watch this. From a home page, say I'm on the map, I would go like this. Quotes. Click. And then I can either scroll down, say there's tons of it, or say there's pages and pages and pages of these things.
Yeah.
Okay, watch this. Show hide search criteria. Click. And then I'm going to come down here. Who was actually the salesperson on this thing? And I'm going to say, this was Ethan. Search.
Oh, there we go.
And there's just Ethan's quotes. Okay?
On the classic homepage too, there's a link that says My Quotes right under System Basics, and you click on that, it just does the same report right there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
That Ethan, that's also one of the buttons I put a lot of on, like interface pages for companies. You know, like that CRM page,
Mhm.
it has My Quotes, but all it is I'm just using that same report for that, because people want to look at just their stuff all the time.
Homepage. Yeah, but we're there with the quote homepage, we've got everybody. Where are, it's just the show and hide criteria, is that what you did?
Okay, so watch this, okay? We're gonna come back to it. This is great. This is actually super important. Once you learn this, you'll see it every homepage you land on. It's kind of like, hey, here's your current activity. You want to tweak it out? You want to get advanced? Like, there's a bunch of search options. Once we add it to a database, we're then able to search it. And that's a huge key inside of Adilas. So from the homepage, watch this. I come over here and I hit quotes. Click. That's all we've been doing so far. Gives me a little counter. Currently, I'm showing 20. Alrighty? If I click on the Show Hide Search Criteria button, all it does is it's the exact same page. There's still my original 20 quotes. All it did was it shows and hides, it collapses one little piece to gain a little bit more real estate. That's all that particular button does, okay? But if you open it and then you add some criteria to it, you could easily kind of really tweak some stuff out. Most of these are counter sales. If you actually had certain customer names and you wanted to search for a quote for a certain customer name, it'd be a piece of cake. You could be like, customer filter, I'm going to enter Jones, last name, that's a good date range, go. And then it just pulls up the ones that are assigned to a Jones as a last name. Your search capabilities are amazing. I'm going to open it back up, and basically, here's almost like a quick search. It has some numerics. If I wanted to create a new quote right from this page, I could click this button, I could type in new, I could like there's millions of ways around this part. What you do, this is a funny analogy, and I heard Steve actually use this one time, okay? Imagine you have a pool, okay? Are you going to walk around it? Are you going to do this? Are you going to come and jump in and dive? Are you going to swim laps? Like, we literally are an open business model, okay? Imagine if it was very rigid and you have to come into a certain thing and follow certain things, and then you get there and it's like, what would you like to do? Okay, come over this way. Like, we're basically like, hey, you can play whatever you want. Maybe you're doing quotes, somebody else is doing this. Eventually what ends up happening is because it's centralized data, it all ends up playing into the puzzle, okay? So this is why we're able to, you guys are all doing quotes. Say you're independent reps and you're spread out across the country working for a company and you're doing quotes. You were talking to such and such customer and you were talking to such and such customer. You centralize that data. We just added 20 quotes in just a matter of just a second like this, okay? Each one of those can actually be real and contain things. We have centralized data, and then we're able to search that centralized data. Huge, huge, huge. And we'll kind of talk about it. But if you had a certain amount that you were looking for, if you had a certain date range, like we've just done some today, so it doesn't really matter. If somebody put in a quote and they wanted to put it way back or way forward or whatever like that, those date ranges play into all this type of things. How do you want it done? Do you want this, like, who's the location? If you have multiple locations, there's tons and tons of options. As soon as you learn how to search it, here's what I say, okay? As soon as you learn where you put it, how to do it, and if you know where it's at, you can go search it inside of Adilas. It's very, very friendly that way. But if you don't know where you put it and you're just like, oh, I threw it against the wall, then guess what? You're going to have that kind of success trying to get it back. You're like, man, where did it go? But if you're like, I did it as a quote and it was one of the line items, all of a sudden, you know exactly where that data's at, or it's in a quote. Let me just at least get close. It really helps you as you start doing that type of stuff. Would you guys like to keep going? Would you like to do lunch? What would you like to do? I see a yes on lunch. Any seconds on that? I see a second. Okay. Awesome, awesome. We will go ahead and do lunch. When we come back, we're going to review, and basically, we're going to kind of go from there. Any questions or anything? Sherry, I heard you were doing an awesome quote. Would you like to tell us which number it is, and we'll all go and check it out?
Okay, sir. How about number, oh, gee golly, 10 and 17?
Okay, so you can either scroll down till you get to 10 and come across and hit printable, or you can actually do it in your quick search, whichever way you'd like to do it. Okay, awesome. I like the freight. That's funny.
Well, yeah.
Craig gave it to Sherry to Utah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
You even got some fuel for it and
That's great. That's great.
Right.
3. How much are you charging? $100 a piece, huh?
lunchtime is quote 17.
Oh, 17? Okay.
You
Just
forgot
fun.
you forgot the other baggage fee.
Oh, geez, I did.
Quote 17. Okay, what do we got? I didn't know we were doing that. Discount for paying cash. Awesome. You guys see this discount she put in? That's awesome. -1 at $50. It reduces that whole thing. Perfect. Bells and whistles for the end of the class. I obviously need a little work.
Where's the jerky?
What's that?
Where's the jerky?
Oh yeah. So Sherry, if you wanted to add some jerky in that, how would you add it?
I would restore it to my cart
Okay.
and go down to the bottom portion,
Okay.
put in my quantity and my price, choose my probably other in the list. and put notes in there,
Okay.
and add to cart, and then say,
Perfect, perfect. It would be that easy. She's having fun. Cheerio. I can't promise we're doing ice cream today, but I think it's about time for lunch, alrighty?
I was just amazed you all ate ice cream after dinner.
I'm on 17, which is hers,
Uh-huh.
and I've clicked on restore cart and history, and I can't get back to there, so what
Okay.
am I doing wrong?
All you need to do is go up to your quick search and say quote 17.
Oh, that's right, I'm trying to do it directly from there.
Yep. And once you know that key ID number, that's huge. That'll help you bounce. They're kind of relative and they're kind of unrelative. Say you're making tons and tons and tons of quotes, you don't want to have to remember all of these things. But once you look it up, the system, it has to know that main ID number. My social security number, blah, 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 it identifies me to a lot of different things. That quote number, number 17, is pivotal. That's actually how we assign line items, how we assign customers, and all that kind of stuff. That customer is assigned a quote 17. Like, it's very, very important. It's called the key ID. It's kind of a technical term, but it's how you identify things. Awesome. We ready for lunch?
Yes.
Cool. You can either log out or you can leave it as is. Just for your information, if you actually were to just leave it and you walked away and it was more than 2 hours, even though it's still on your screen, when you come back, you might have to log back in. So if you were working on something, save it so that you can do that type of stuff. We'll go ahead and get started. We had a number of fun conversations over lunch and stuff. Steve, do you have your Skype stuff going?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Any comments from lunch or as we kind of get going? Anything that was kind of fun?
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, first of all.
Well, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it a lot. And you talked about a lot of different possibilities and different things. And those who weren't here, you missed out on lunch. But anyway, good stuff. Good stuff. So, where did we leave off? Who can tell me where we left off at?
Quotes.
Quotes.
Quotes. Okay. And who can tell me what a quote is inside of Adilas?
The beginning process of a shopping cart that you're not quite done with, so you're saved as a quote, choosing an individual.
Okay. So a quote could be a literal quote. Hey, I'll sell you this for this, or I'll do this for this, okay? Or it could be a semi-done shopping cart. Save. I need to save this right now, okay? Remember, your shopping cart is held in your session. You can only have one at a time, but you can stick as many pieces in there as you want. As soon as you say save, it takes it out of that session and it stamps it into the database. It now exists for the life of it or whatever, okay? And it'll just keep going. Any other comments on that? Any questions on quotes? We're going to do a bunch more.
Yeah, I was just asking about this bringing ice cream. I'm just kidding.
Oh, where's the ice cream?
Where's the ice cream? I see it part of the quote.
I'm
I
not
forgot,
sure.
the Baskin Robbins closed.
All over the country?
Well, apparently in Utah.
Oh, yeah, we don't have any. Well, like I said, that doesn't mean we don't
I
have
haven't
good ice
been to one in
cream.
probably
but-
25 years, I don't know why I picked Baskin Robbins.
Because it's a known name. It's a known name. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.